Hey everybody, it's Bruno and welcome to AndB. Click on the subscribe button below here and you'll never miss an episode. And also you can follow us on LinkedIn and on Facebook on MegaPixx Media. Enjoy the episode.
That's right. What's up, you sucker? That's right. What's up, you sucker? What you looking at?
Hey everybody, it's Bruno and AndB. We're Can't All Be Serious. I am really happy to have my good friend, the badass superstar selling expert, Jackie Rainforth. Jackie, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Okay, let's get to it
Okay.
right away. This is why people clicked on the clicker. It says there are 3 top sales actions. Let's get to it. Let's not wait till the end of the video and fool people. What do you got for us?
Well, it's all about impact. You have 5 seconds to really make an impression. So you need to really be able to make an impact. You need an opening statement that just wows them, creates conversation, makes them, makes your receiver engaged. It's really important these days because we are in the age of immediacy. And especially with the new generations coming out, right? It's quick. They're the tablet kids. So we need to make sure that when you're talking to someone, you're able to really make a big impact right away. The second thing, of course, is differentiation. How are you different from your competitors? What makes you, your product, and your company unique and different and gives you that competitive advantage? And the third thing is process. We need to go back to process because I always think of it as, would you drive a car with a blindfold on? What would happen? What would happen to you, Bruno, if you were driving a car with a blindfold on, right?
It makes no difference. That's how I drive right now, but that's okay. As you get older, your eyesight goes down. But okay, you're right. So what would happen if I'm driving a sales car with a blindfold?
You're going to get lost. You're going to take wrong turns. You're going to crash and burn. Right? And that's what happens with selling. When you don't have the proper process behind you, you don't have that mental map of where you're going and where you need to go next. Right. And as a result of that, you miss steps, you skip out, you miss things, and you skip really important things. And that's, of course, when you start having problems.
It's interesting because some of the sales advice training, whatever that I've done in the years, it started off as a joke, and it's funny you should bring up the car because I said if you wing it, you ding it. So if you're backing up without looking, you're going to ding it, right? Exactly. So that's kind of what you're saying is you wing it, you ding it, eh?
Exactly. And, and I think as veteran salespeople, we get comfortable. We do miss things. We do skip processes. We do kind of just move forward at our own pace, doing our own thing. We get comfortable with it. It's just human nature. But I think it's really important that we get back to it. There aren't as many sales opportunities out there anymore. We really need to focus on those.
Okay, so let's go to the first thing you said, which was
impact.
The impact. You have to come in, boom it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Let's talk about give one thing that somebody can do. Well, nowadays you got to impact on the Zoom calls.
Yes, absolutely.
You can't walk in there and have the cufflinks on. There, people are like, "Hey, listen, I think there's something wrong with my camera. There's too much light on the, can you turn down your?" But now it's like, let's talk about this. Let's go. I don't even know if you call it conventional anymore, but face to face. Let's do face to face. What is one thing?
Well, it doesn't matter because it's all the same. I have something called a power intro, and well, let's take a realtor, for instance. A realtor comes in, you meet someone or you introduce yourself. Hi, I'm a realtor, right? Because people say, what do you do? First thing you say is, I'm a realtor. Well, just change the language up. Say, I'm a real estate professional. I'm a real estate expert. Right? That creates credibility and authority that creates an impact. Or that's, I think what's really important is just changing that language so that you are not only showing confidence, but speaking confidence.
So I'm a real estate professional.
Yeah, or I'm a real estate specialist, who or I'm a real estate professional who specializes in luxury homes in such and such neighborhood, right? Like you can really niche down. There are lots of things that you can do, but
That's really good.
it's got to be powerful.
You know what? You're really good. I'm going to push the record button. You can be on my show. No, because the reason why I bring that up, Jackie, is that that's a simple thing.
It is really simple. Mm-hmm.
You know, I used to get I get a kick out of it now that, you know, you got 500 years experience. I'm talking about, you know, me being that old. And I go up to somebody and I'll say, hey, Jackie, what do you do for a living? Oh, sorry, you're a bad example because you wouldn't do this, but I go, hey, Peter, what do you do? Well, I'm just a real estate agent. Like I'm just right? Or it's like, oh, I'm in car sales, right? And you're right. That makes no impact whatsoever.
None.
You know,
right.
So.
And if you want people, you know, people are looking for confident experts. You know, who do you want to deal with? Do you want to deal with someone that just says, yeah, I think that's what my product's like. And, oh, yeah, I think you know, and, oh, let me get back to you. And no, that's not what you want someone that's going to make an impact, that knows what they're talking about. They know their product. They know where they're going in the conversation. They've got it all laid out and they're confident about it. And I think that's important. Confidence is huge.
Yeah, I always equate it back to like more of a humorous thing. People get it. And I love talking to you because you get this. Like I kind of talk the same lingo. It's kind of like walking into, you know, a surgery, and the doctor goes, "Yeah, I'm kind of a doctor. I think it'll be fine. It'll be okay. Like I think, trust me. You know, I dabble in medicine. You know, I guess it's the same with sales. I think people. Do you think it's a lack of confidence that they really, really don't know that that's necessary? Because you do a lot of coaching.
I do believe a lot of people lack confidence in selling. Absolutely. It's, you know, if you look at business owners, even business owners are really good at what they do, you know, whether it's their product or their service, but 85% of them have never had any sort of formal training when it comes to selling. And selling, whether you use the word selling, whether you use promoting, right? You're promoting your product and your service. It's the same thing. It's just different language. And yeah, a lot of people do not have that confidence. You know, I see it all the time.
Yeah. Okay. Numero due. Hey, while we're here, don't forget to subscribe to our channel to be able to receive our newest updates. Hope you enjoy the rest of the episode.
Okay. Numero due.
Is that even a word? Due. Yeah, that's Italian. So number 2, what's the number 2 thing?
Number 2 thing was differentiation.
Okay. So
yeah.
Walk us through like that whole thing about I'm a real estate professional right off the bat, right?
Right.
Hey, listen, I do this thing with some people that I work with, and it's kind of like, you know, what do you do for a living? And it's kind of like the Bonnie and Clyde. We rob banks. There's no if or buts what they do. I just love that clip because that really says, you know, I save people who have liver problems. Oh, you're a liver specialist. Okay. Let's make it as simple if you can as the first point you made, because people watch videos and think there's a lot of complications. It starts with a really first step of the process is say what you do, right? Yeah. Secondly, give us a really simple yet effective tip on that. Being different.
Make sure, take a look at the 3 things: you, your company, and your product or service.
Okay.
What makes you unique and different? If you don't know, ask your customers. We call it canning and cloning. Ask them. They'll tell you exactly what you're good at. That's why they buy from you, and they'll tell you exactly, right? And so that it doesn't become a problem for you. But once you know those little nuggets of information, those are the nuggets that you really work with.
The author of Badass Guide to Superstar Selling. You train a lot of people.
I'm a sales trainer and a speaker.
Okay. What would they say about you?
What would they say about me?
That's so different. I already know what I'm going to say.
Oh, well, tell me first.
No, then you're going to use my value prop. No, you're badass.
I am badass.
No, I know it's a cliche, but it's like, to me, it's like Jackie's badass because you're willing to do things and say things that other people don't, because they're going to think, oh, they're not going to like me, then it's okay to be less effective. But you like get after it.
Well, and I think that comes down to fear and confidence.
Okay.
When I first started selling, I was awful. And I was terrified. I was selling these things, time clocks, where you push the card in and tell the employer whether you're late or not. Well, if they don't need those all the time. So I'm knocking on doors. And they're like, can't you read the sign? No soliciting. And no, we don't need that. Why don't you, like it was just, and I was taking the stuff personally. Eventually, it started to eat at my self-esteem. Then I was going into the office, pretending I was working when I really wasn't, going home and watching TV all day. And I know there are salespeople out there doing that. And it is about confidence and fear. That's what it comes down to. And I'm such a big, all my programs, I really work on confidence and fear because I think it's absolutely instrumental. I have confidence. I'm not afraid to say what I need to say. And that's why I do it. And actually, I think that's, if you look at the book, that fearless is part of badass. I put the descriptions in there, and that's what it is. It is about fearless.
I think that's what differentiates you. Good or bad, it doesn't matter. So we're not all for everybody, but that's a differentiator for you. Like you do it, right? So we're going to get to number 3. So, kind of let's wait a bit for the number 3 tip on sales action. But I want to go back because you started touching on it. You're award-winning sales expert, trainer. You're a conference speaker. And you talked about selling these time clocks, right?
Yeah.
Punch in, punch out guys.
Yeah.
Tell us about your story a little bit. How did you get started in business sales? And basically, what is your
I was a summer student and I was doing accounts receivable and I really didn't like it. I am not a numbers girl. I'm an action girl and the numbers were killing me. So I took a job as a, I guess you could say back then it was called a secretary. I took a job as a, receptionist admin person. I'm sitting at the desk and my boss goes, your personality, you should absolutely be selling. But I had a great personality. And I think that's part of the problem with selling. People think that a great personality, that you can get through on personality and charm, but that's not enough. And that's where that's where process comes in. You need to have skill in order to be successful. And I think that's where the stereotype comes in. You've got people who are, just throwing mud on the wall, hoping that something sticks, or they, do what I call a product dump. And they're just like, blah, 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 everything, there's so many things that when they know the right processes, simple processes, and that's kind of what I did. I wanted to make sure I know that I need simple things, right? Like quick, easy, so I can remember it in my head and I've got that little mental map. And that's what I started to do. I started to create this program without even knowing about it. And I was corporate for many, many years. I worked as sales rep, regional manager, executive. And finally, and in there I had my own company. I was a sales agency for a big global brand, 100% commission, all of Alberta, Southern BC. And I founded the company and I had to get out there and start making money. That was the thing. And what I found, I started with people from their industry because the suppliers said, you should hire people from our industry. We don't want, they know what's going on. They've got the knowledge and the experience. But what happened was I just got everybody else's baggage. And so I trusted my gut, went against the norm. Again, that's probably me. And I hired people that had a great attitude, that had the willingness to learn, and they were nice people. I used my system and we absolutely blew it up. We grew the business 280%. We're talking tens of millions of dollars in 4 short years. And that's how I got the RBC Women Entrepreneur Canada nomination. So, yeah.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. We can go back to number 2 now. You did something different.
I did something very different. Very
different.
I
mean, there's a sales action right there in action. In industry. Because a lot of people that watch videos like this one and they kind of take that introduction not seriously. Like, I'm a sales manager, I'm this. No, but you're proving that your actual step 1 and step 2, boom, you did something different. You dared to be different wins, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I've always tried to look outside the box. I had a great mentor after my coach job. I call it the coach job, where I
Yeah.
was sitting at home all day. I had a great mentor who really got me, to put a different pair of glasses on when I was out there. And I look for opportunity, things that other people aren't doing. And that's how we did it too. We were able to capitalize. I was in construction. Typically, the contractor sells to the supplier, or orders it from the supplier, and then the manufacturer. And I'm thinking, why are we waiting for that? Let's just go to the end user. Boom. That's what we
Yeah.
did. We started going to the end user and the architects, designers, engineers, and it just blew up for us.
So Jackie, the one thing that, I mean, a lot of people have written books, but your book is a little different, going back to step 2. Well, walk us through your book.
Well, first of all, I think I've made it so that it's a great foundational basic for someone who is either starting out in sales, for someone who's been in business for lots of years but doesn't really, know some of those processes, and then of course for the seasoned veteran who wants to get back to those processes, and I've got scripts and tips. I've got quotes from other people. I've got statistics in there. I mean, it is loaded. It's not just Jackie saying blah, blah, blah. I mean, it really has a lot of information in there, and it's been getting great reviews. So lucky me.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do is anybody who puts a comment under here,
Yeah.
okay, and links or just sends me something on a link over here, like to me or to you,
Yeah.
I'm gonna raffle off a book for you. How's that?
Great.
Why not?
Yeah, that'd be great. Thanks.
By the time I pick it up, I'll probably buy 4 or 5 of them for my friends who can't sell, or think they can sell. They think they can sell. But it's interesting because your book actually, you said number 3 was basically having a sales process.
Yes.
Right? So really, that's confidence is about predictability. So walk us through what you mean by process as your 3rd tip for sales actions.
Well, I'll give you an example. So you meet someone and, you need to sell you, then the company, then the product, and then you can talk about price.
Okay, so let's slow down. Number 1, you,
then
2,
the company,
product
or service,
or service,
and then price. But people talk
Okay.
price out of order all the time. When you meet someone and you're selling your wares, the first thing the other person says is, how much? If
Yeah.
you tell them, you've got a 50-50 chance that you're going to
Yep.
continue a conversation. No, you don't do that. People need to know you, like you, trust you. They need to know that you're an expert, that you're credible. That's why that introduction is so important. But you want to prove value before you talk price. And that's essential because here's the thing. Women actually make 93% of all household purchasing decisions, and they influence 85% of all purchasing decisions, right? You're married? Yeah. Right? I can tell you my husband goes, oh yeah, she makes all the decisions. No, that's not true. But if you start talking about the product and the service to a woman and she doesn't like you, or woman or man, doesn't matter. But if they don't like you, they're not going to be listening to you. They're not going to hear. It's all going to be irrelevant. You cannot sell out of order. You have to start at the top. You need to make sure that they know you, like you, and trust you first, because if they don't, you're not going to sell your product. You have to, and you'll have to start over again.
Well, it's funny because, it's anything that you're trying to do, you always look back at something, maybe in an Italian Family or a Robert De Niro movie, and you got your answer. But it's so funny that you're saying the 85% is that, there's an old story about an Italian man who's been married for 80 years. He's 100 years old or whatever.
Yeah.
And he says, Gino, how you've been married to the same woman for 80 years? And he goes, it's a simple. I make all the big decisions. She makes all the little decisions. He goes, how's that been going? He goes, 80 years, never a big decision I have to make. So that's one way to make us feel important. But you're right. Most of the decisions are on likability, and the women make them, you're saying. And, I don't know the stats, but at the end of the day, the price thing, going back to the Italian thing, because we want to have fun. It can't all be serious, right?
No.
I can tell you honestly, like I grew up in, not so much my family, but people, I grew up in a family business, Italian family business. People walk in and they, it was a mechanic shop. And you're right. They come in and they kind of go, oh, I got to flat the tire. And I go, okay, we'll fix it. No, it's going to be too expensive. Right off the bat, like, how do you know? Like, you got a flat tire, it's minus 40 degrees. I mean, how are you going to get, no, it's too expensive, So at some point, you kind of got to get over that because you need the tire fix. And that's kind of what I know it's funny, but it's the 2 points, decision making and price. Yeah.
You have to prove value before you can talk price. You know, if you just say, because everybody has their own understanding of what's a good price and what's not a good price. And everyone has, this understanding of value, but you need to make sure that you communicate the value before you talk price. And that's why you talk about, you make sure that they know you, like you, trust you, and you talk about, the product, how it's different, your company, how it's different and unique. And those things lead you. When you start talking value before price, it changes the entire scenario, because then people have some real meat and potatoes to base the price decision on. It's not just a whimsical yes or no.
Mm-hmm. You know what? That's awesome. So just quickly in summary, the 3 things, the 3 sales actions we've covered. Click at the bottom, leave a comment, send me an email, get in the draw for Jackie's book, and make sure to click underneath for a trip to Jackie's website. It's actually quite good. And I mean that because I looked at it, and take a look at some of the training and stuff like that. So those were the 3 actions. So great job. Thanks, Jackie.
Thanks. The website, those are a labor of love, those websites.
That one there is really good. Well, you know what? That's pretty much all the time we have for this episode today. Thank you for tuning in with us. And you know what? Make sure you subscribe to our MegaPixx media channel so you will never miss an episode. And also you can follow us on LinkedIn and Facebook, Instagram. We have content almost every day. So thank you very much for joining us. I'll see you guys soon.